I guess I have to spell my name right here. Every time I go on, I have to change my name from Shirley to Brian because it's Shirley's gig. Hello, Scott. Oh, you were just there. You just disappeared.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I
Good.
just muted myself.
Coming back. That's good. Waiting for your camera to come back on there. That's
Brian,
good.
I was doing a little house cleaning.
Yeah.
And I found a picture. You and Alice and you and me and Catherine Barnes at the Washington D.C. meeting in 20 years ago.
No kidding. Oh my gosh. Isn't that wild? That was a long time ago.
You have no gray hair in that picture, my friend.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's true. That changed. Kids will do that to you, I think. That's great. That was a long time. That was a good conference. We saw a lot of really cool stuff there. That was great. Big bunch. And I think we had a good sized crowd there too, which was great. That was good. I got to sit on that panel at the Library of Congress with Chris Coover, and I don't remember who the director of Library of Congress was at the time, but I think there were 3 of us, but that was pretty cool. That was great. Neat. Let's see if I got anybody else needing to come in here. So far, so good. Oh, this is good. I wasn't sure how many people we had, so I created a little trivia night for us too, if we wanted to dive into that, if we get a little time. But,
that sounds good to me.
We'll see. There you go. That's right. It's all Canadian trivia, Bill, so you're going to win.
So I noticed on the invites that it said America and Toronto.
Oh, did it? America and Toronto. Oh, yeah. Well, you guys, it said America and Toronto on the invitation.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I don't know if that's sent out to, if that went out by Shirley. I don't remember that exactly.
Okay.
Cool. That's all right. You guys had your Independence Day, what, a couple of months ago? When was it? When do you guys celebrate that? You guys have a Canada Day.
July 1st.
July 1st. Right. There you go. That's great. That's good. My kid was there last year on July 1st, and they set off fireworks somewhere in Toronto, and they almost got arrested. And they said, well, we're just helping you celebrate. He goes, well, we don't celebrate like you guys do south of the border. So get rid of fireworks and stop it. He was on tour with a musical group that played up there. Wow.
Okay.
Neat. That's good. We'll give folks a few more minutes and we'll officially fire it up here. Here we go. People are finding their way in. That's it.
Well, I can maybe on a fireworks note, I can tell you that we went to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And we got firecrackers.
That's south of the border. Did you go to south of the border as you're driving down Route 95? Is that where you got them? Oh, I don't know. Okay. There's a big tourist trap in called South of the Border, just as you get into South Carolina, headed south.
Okay.
Yeah, so you bought fireworks. Let me see all 10 fingers. You got them all?
So the wick was too short and it blew up in my hand.
Oh my gosh, no kidding.
But I still have 10 fingers.
Jeez. It's just crazy. Oh my gosh. Neat. I like your Remember Pearl Harbor sign back there with the big victory and Uncle Sam. That's very cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I found that in a garage in Beverly Hills.
No kidding.
I think it had been sitting up there since the war.
Wow.
It was clearly something like a piece of folk art, like someone had handmade it. And I collect a lot of stuff from pretty much 20th century. I don't get into a lot of pre-1900s.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got lots. In fact, this thing I really love, which you can't, this thing right here is brand new. It's a map of America. I just put it up the other day. It's a map of the country. And it says, that, the people, they say that 20 families control America, but the real people that control it are these people. And there's these red arrows, and it blossoms out to like 40 names of 40 organizations that were funded by communists in the 30s.
Whoa, no kidding.
And there are things like the ACLU, the NAACP, the Negro League, and there's also stuff like, workers for the foreign born, or,
wow.
Every sort of progressive charity there was had some money coming from the communists. And it's just so I collect pretty much all of those groups. So now I get them all there as part of the
all in one spot.
Yeah, really cool.
And what organization put that flyer or poster or map ad?
It's a really good question. I looked everywhere and I found one copy in the whole world, and it was sold by a Boston map thing. They called it exceedingly rare. I couldn't even see what they sold it for. I got it from
Wow.
a collector. He traded me that, an NAACP item with Jackie Robinson's endorsing the NAACP. So he sells that.
Wow.
Baseball collectors will spend like $400 or $500 for this thing, but I wanted it from the civil rights angle.
Yeah.
That, and he also gave me a really rare Japanese internment booklet. And this took a year. He was trying to get me, because what he wanted was a little one-page leaflet with just type on it announcing that Emmett Till's mother was coming to Los Angeles to give a speech.
Wow,
And
that's
wanted that so
incredible.
badly because his whole thing is civil rights.
Yeah.
And so I got 3 really great items for one lovely. I mean, it was a. Don't get me wrong. What I gave him was wonderful.
No, sure.
I was thrilled to get 3 things for it. I felt good about that.
That's so great. Good deal. So 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll make sure we got everybody here. So this may be it. We had about 21 folks sign up. We typically get between 50 and 60 people signing up, but apparently you're the people that didn't get invited to a 4th of July party early. So you're stuck with us. So what I want to do tonight, we're just going to leave it open. What do you want to chat about? If we run out of time, then we're probably not going to run out of time. If we have too much time and you want to play a little trivia game, I got some trivia for us. You want to call it early? I'm getting a smirk from Ellen. She just wants to get the heck off.
I'd love to see people's favorite some items that they love.
Yeah, for sure. So I thought we'd do a lot of that too. Ellen, can you just kick us off? What's going on with the Manuscript Society? What should we know about? Were you at the conference in California? Did you make the conference?
Well, of course. And
yeah, that's right.
We had Linda, who of course made a talk. Linda Cassidy did.
Yeah. Yep.
And we were so glad to have. We had Scott there, of course, who's a board member. We had Jim Goldman, of course, who's been around longer than all of us and looks younger than all of us.
That's a good follow-up, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah,
that's good.
yes,
That's right.
Yes, Jim. So we had a wonderful time and we saw great things. And I'm trying to write a kind of a summation of it right now. I've been working on it this past weekend. So
you went to Huntington, right?
And of course, we're already planning and looking forward to next May, which is going to be in San Antonio and Austin.
Good. So. And you got to the Huntington. Somebody asked about that. I didn't know who it was. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Good. Ellen, tell us a little bit about, your involvement with the organization, a little bit about you, where you're from. So just kind of a little short intro. We'll do that for everybody.
Okay. My name is Ellen Myers, and I was born in Texas, and I went to school all over. My graduate degrees are from the University of Virginia, and lived in San Antonio since 1970 and taught for years at a public community college, taught history, and we have an honors program in Western civilization, that type of thing. So
wonderful.
I don't consider myself a collector, although you could look behind me and tell I do collect things here and there and have a family that's done that for a long time. So anyway, I don't collect, but I generally know what I'm looking at. And of course I love to do research. So that's where I'm coming from.
Excellent. That's great. Yeah. That's great. Scott, you want to, you're muted at the moment, I think. Yeah. Now you're unmuted. That's good. Fire away. Tell us who you are, where you're from, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go around again and figure out if you have a favorite collectible or what questions you have or what you want to share with the rest of the group. But let's do introductions first, if that's okay.
Well, I live in Poway, which is a suburb of San Diego. I've been collecting probably 30 years, eclectic sports, science stuff, medical stuff. And I kind of got into poetry. So I have quite a nice little collection of poetry by the 19th century poets primarily, trying to get fair copies of some of their poems and things like that. Robert Frost and a few others like that too. So that's been one of my interests. And then I've gotten into writing books more recently on a couple artists, and my third book's coming out in September on one of my artists. And there's a lot of overshoot into art and collecting manuscripts because it's helpful to have that background knowledge. So I found
what's the book? What artist are you working on now?
It's a guy named Ralph Burke Tyree, and it's about his animals that he painted. He died in 1979, and this is the 50th anniversary of Endangered Species Act. And he
Oh,
was really
yeah.
involved in painting endangered species, and that's what the book's about. Some common, and then some endangered animals
Mhm.
that are in the book. And then we tell a brief description of each one. So it's a real colorful book of his art, and kind of a tabletop.
Oh, that's great.
But a lot of history about the animals.
Very cool. Thanks. Bill.
Sure.
Well, I have to ask, where's the pool?
Where's oh, because I actually am a lifeguard. I just got my recertification about 2 months ago, just because I want to see if I could pass the test. And I lifeguarded at a local camp with 3 other lifeguards whose combined ages are less than mine. And I don't know where the pool
They
is.
have a shortage. They have a shortage of lifeguards.
They
they've
do have
been
a
saying.
shortage.
So
Yeah,
you
I
can-
don't want to. Yeah, I just want to
you can-
fill in once in a
you can
while.
get a job.
There you go. That's great. Okay, Bill. So I don't know where the pool is, Bill. So where are you from, Bill? And what do we need to know about you?
So I'm from Montreal. I'm the guy that was known as the Canadian, a previous excursion with the Manuscript Society in Quebec City in 2012. I collect autographs. I try mainly to limit myself to Canadians.
Mhm.
Saves you
And
a lot of money.
what's that? Yeah,
Saves you a lot of money.
it does. But so 2 things. First of all, if you wanted an Abraham Lincoln, you could probably just get one in a week.
Yeah.
If you're looking for some of the early prime ministers of Canada, there have been some that I've seen like twice in 20 years.
Wow.
So it's much more challenging. But I do have a complete set of Canadian prime ministers.
Nice.
And maybe more interesting, I don't think I really need to show you. I've got a Ronald Reagan signed photo.
Mm-hmm.
Actually 2. And maybe a bit of an interesting story is that I basically reserved the website Bill Clinton Presidential Library.
Did you really?
.com.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Got it.
So eventually I got a phone call saying, give it up.
Okay.
And basically that got me a signed photo.
Oh, they traded. They just could have sued you, but they traded off and gave you. That's pretty funny. That's good. Good for you. Very resourceful. Thanks, Bill. Allison, what's cooking? Give us the scoops.
Well, I'm a screenwriter and a novelist, and I've lived in Hollywood for about 30 years. And I've tried, and I just sort of fell into collecting with carte de visites of writers. I was collecting
really?
writers that I loved and cabinet cards and carte de visites, and it just kept morphing and it just didn't stop. Mostly eBay, swap meets, estate sales, flea markets kind of thing. And now my collection really has gotten out of hand. I mean, it looks orderly. See, those are some of the binders right there.
Wow.
And then across from them is another big shelf full of binders, and they're all, very neatly categorized. But as my interest, like I read a new book that interests me about something, and the next thing I know, I just start acquiring paper. A lot of it I have in social justice. It's stuff like I have a lot of I'll do left-wing causes, labor history. But then I also am fascinated by like right-wing dysfunction. Like I have a whole thing on racist politics.
Oh,
and
wow.
like fascism and American homegrown fascism. In fact, the document that I was going to talk about is related to that, because there was a huge Nazi presence in Los Angeles leading up to World War II.
No
Lots
kidding.
of spies were
Okay.
just crawling everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And so anyway, but a lot of it's contingent. It's part of, but I have things like the Hollywood Canteen, a very big collection of that. I have the White Rats of America, which is my favorite. They were a vaudeville union that only lasted 15 years. The fun thing about that is they're as rare as Canadian prime ministers. It's very hard to find white wrap
Wow.
stuff, but when I find it, it's dirt cheap because
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
collects it but me. And I find it in the weirdest places, in old scrapbooks of vaudevillians. They'll save a Union thing stuck in their book. And I have a lot of Japanese internment stuff. And I say, so those are the main focuses of my collection. But then there's just categories. I'll have a whole thing on automotive, and I don't care about cars at all. But I see something that I know is special, and I can't just let it die in obscurity. And it's not like I spend a lot of money on this stuff. I'm really like a high level garbage picker, and I'll accumulate. And so I'm really good to trade with, because if you have categories, I have stuff I'm willing to part with because I just picked it for you. I don't
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't need automotive, you know.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. That's great. Thank you. Linda, fill us in.
Hello. So I'm in Los Angeles, and my husband and I are involved at USC with a gigantic Lewis Carroll collection. So we spend most of our time trying to get exhibitions, programs, and a giant bibliography that he's done a magnificent job with. And that's where we spend a whole lot of our time. And I want to thank your organization for inviting us to the meeting. And it was really a lot of fun. You're actually more fun than the Lewis Carroll Society, but never.
They may not be saying much, but
No,
who knows?
No, it's got a lot of similarities. It's just, it's kind of a wide range of scholarship versus kind of the enthusiast for Lewis Carroll.
Sure. Yep.
But it's a lot of fun, and the people are really smart, which I always enjoy the company of. But I really was amazed and had a great time with you. So
good. That's wonderful. I'm sorry I missed it. That sounds great. That's it. Jim, what's cooking? That's you.
All right. Hi there, everybody. Oh, our audience is growing. Well, sort of. Anyway.
Yeah,
hello.
a little bit. That's it.
Let's see. I grew up in New York and have lived in the Philadelphia area since I came here to go to graduate school in 1983. So I guess I'm here 40 years. So I'm from Philadelphia.
Does that make you a Phillies fan? Are you the Philadelphia
Yeah.
teams? Okay, just checking.
Oh yeah. Watch, I listen, and I got tickets to a couple of games later this season. So we'll support the local home team.
There you go.
There you go. So here I was doing some cleaning Manuscript Society stuff because I have boxes of it. And I don't mean collecting, I mean stuff related to the society. And that's when I found the picture of you, Brian. And I came across this. I hadn't seen this in a long time. So apparently I joined the Manuscript Society in 1999.
Wow.
This is my welcome letter from the executive director, David R. Smith.
Wow, look at that.
Who some of you if you don't know, he was the archivist for Disney's corporate archives.
Yeah, yep.
Wonderful guy. And back in them days, they sent out membership.
Look at that. Wow. With real signatures on them.
Yep. There's my
Maybe.
membership.
That's so cool. Look at that.
I have no idea. Oh, I know who that. I think that's I think that's Kenneth Rendell who signed that as president.
We could. Very cool.
Yeah. So that was fun. In terms of collecting, Allison, I admire your organization there. I have no idea what I've got at this point. I've lost. Sometimes things you think it's under control, I've lost control. I don't know. And one of my winter projects to pull it all out and figure it all out and make some kind of list or catalog. Well, winter came and went, and that didn't happen. So, but I don't collect anymore. But what I did purchase a lot of was things related to the early history of radio.
Oh yeah,
interest in radio and electronics, and so I have lots of the radio pioneers in my little collection, particularly.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it
radio?
Isn't it a Toronto guy that actually invented the radio or the radio system, if I'm not mistaken.
It's kind of hard to put the figure on a inventor. It's like most technologies where somebody invented this little bit and then somebody improved that little bit and somebody figured out this problem and then somebody else put those two things together. It's kind of like that story. And lots, Marconi did a lot and DeForest did a lot, and there were the scientists and then there were the engineers who made the devices. So that was kind of my interest area. And in terms of haphazard collecting, somebody mentioned, oh yeah, I think is also Allison, about just haphazard, non-themed, I sort of set myself out, I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to just stick with radio, with my interest area, and be deep and not broad. Well, then you go to the Manuscript Society fun auctions, okay? I got to tell you, I got a bunch of junk from those auctions. And I'm like, why do I have this? I don't know. I guess it looked fun at the time. Got to clean that stuff out. Okay. Thank you.
That's very good. That's great. Good deal.
And
Christian,
John Monroe. Aren't you a fan of John Monroe? James Monroe?
James Monroe. Yeah, I do have a couple of the pieces from James Monroe. Yeah. That was something that as a tangent off my dad's collection. He had a lot of various historical Americana, some of which even made the news 2 years ago.
No kidding. Really? Oh,
yeah. You missed it, huh?
I guess I missed it. I'm sorry. What was it about? Fill us in.
It wasn't a manuscript. It was so anyway, one of the pieces I inherited was a James Monroe, and it looked lonely, so I bought some more.
That's too good. Good. John, unmute yourself and tell us where you're from, what you're up to, and how things are happening for you.
Well, well, thank you. I'm a new member, and I'm actually an appraiser, but not of tangible objects, actually for business. I'm a CPA by profession. I live here in Southern Kentucky and near Nashville, Tennessee. And, my first interest was into maybe valuing manuscripts to help maybe museums and also donors.
Right. Yeah.
And but now my interest has been piqued, and now I think I'm going to be a collector myself.
Yeah, that's scary. You're in trouble now.
Yeah, but I haven't decided what to collect. I've been, I love books, and so I've been buying kind of older, interesting books from the Friends of the Library. They have a little shop, and I'm interested in maps, and so. We'll see. I'll let you know a year from now or next beach party what
there you go.
I decided to collect.
That's too cool. Oh, that's great.
The only thing about collecting books is that anything that's contingent on the condition of it. Like I have some great books from but you can't even open them because as soon as you start messing with them, you're devaluing them. So I just decided the great thing about ephemera was like once it's in a sleeve, you really can't hurt it, and you don't have to open it. You can just look at it, But books frustrate me, and of course, also it's the fact that you now with everything being digitized, there are these famous collectors, when they pass away, the family used to be able to donate the books and get a huge tax refund, and now the universities charge you to house the books because they don't have any shelf space, and nobody cares. It's like the world has changed so much.
It's become very selective. It's very selective. It's hard. Yep. Unless they're real specialty books for sure. Great. Thanks, John.
And John, don't collect Canadian stuff, please.
Okay. That's right. Yeah,
no competition.
What are we competition? That's right. Yeah. Sometimes the dealers get on here and say, "Oh, Bill's looking for Canadian stuff. Okay, that means I got to double all my prices," and I'll tell them what I have. There you go. Ellen, what are you drinking? That looks good. Chocolate martini?
Well, actually, it's a frozen daiquiri.
Nice. Look at you.
My husband is an expert
Oh, that's good. Well,
Nice.
I'm lifeguarding, so I can't drink actually at the time. But once I'm off, I'm gonna put a few away.
And
That's
Linda
right.
and I are in LA, so it's only 5:30. So
That's oh good, good. You're just kind of getting warmed up. That's good.
I've got root
Linda's
beer.
got something. There you go. I'm with you. Christian, fill us in. How's things?
Well, speaking of books and drinks, I didn't bring a drink because I didn't want to spill anything on this book.
Oh yeah, and you had one to share. Now I don't know if anybody's having a little trouble with Christian's video.
Yeah.
That looks more
Sure.
solid now. I
That's
think
better. Yeah.
This is the a signed copy of Martin Luther King's "Why We Can't Wait."
nice.
Cool. Wow.
And the inscription is just incredible.
Tell us about it. I can read it to us because we see it there.
Aunt.
It's,
He's
it's
inscribed
too
it to his
small.
aunt with deep affection and appreciation for your support and encouragement in my something efforts.
Humble,
Humble efforts.
humble
No
efforts.
kidding. Humble
Now,
efforts.
This
Wow.
book was signed to his aunt, which
Wow.
was Martin Luther King Sr.'s sister, named
Mhm.
Woody King Brown. She lived in Detroit. And when she died, she was a widow, childless, no heirs. So the house became a trash heap, and 2 books were found by the owner who bought the
Mhm.
house for back taxes. She
No
bought this
kidding.
house for back taxes, and these books were found in it.
Wow.
And
Wow.
the woman sold these books for more than she bought the house for. Now,
Wow.
one
No
interesting
kidding. Wow.
thing, I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see in the
Your
bottom.
your image is, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sure what's going on.
Yeah,
I
we're
can
having a
see
little
it.
trouble with your video.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
okay.
you go. That's
You
good.
see,
There
you
you go.
see the bottom where under his signature, he
It says
put
Yep.
ML.
ML. Okay. I had trouble figuring out why he did that. So on a business trip to Atlanta, I went to the museum there, and a curator told me that every King family member had a nickname.
No
And
kidding.
his nickname was ML.
Really?
Beautiful.
And yeah, so that's why he did it, to make it more personal for his aunt, I would assume. So that's the
Wow.
story of the book. This is the house where she lived in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
just a
Wow.
stone's throw from Old Tiger Stadium.
Oh, really?
And when she died, the house just became a haven for squatters and drug addicts, and
Wow.
they're there for 8 years.
No
Uh,
kidding.
this book sitting in a trash heap, moldering.
Wow.
Now,
Unbelievable.
it's just, sometimes condition is an issue with books,
Mm-hmm.
Allison said, and at the bottom you can see maybe a little bit of mold damage.
Yeah. Yep.
But
It looks beautiful.
the inscription kind of
Yeah.
overcomes that, I think.
That's incredible.
I've
That's
never
great.
I've never seen a King signed book with such a great inscription.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's so good. Thanks for sharing that.
Humble efforts.
Humble. Yeah, I know. I looked at heard that and went, really? Humble
Yeah,
efforts.
really?
You got to be kidding. That's
Sorry
wild.
about the video. I don't know what
That's all right. Now you collect other things as well. I appreciate you sharing that, but you have a lot of interesting things in your collection as well, don't you?
Yeah, I've kind of spread out. Like I said, like Jim said, it's sort of out of control at this point. But
Yep.
I try to keep good records, and lately I've been collecting Civil War stuff. I like soldiers' letters
Oh, do you? Uh-huh.
from the Civil War because there was no censorship then, no military censorship.
Right, right. I see.
They
Mhm.
could write these horrific battle, detailed letters back to their parents. And you can only imagine what mom and dad thought when they got some of these letters about amputations and
Yeah, yeah.
friends dying of horrible diseases. And,
Incredible.
What are some of your other subjects that you collect?
I started by collecting cabinet members,
Uh,
kind of an obscure but affordable area.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that moved into presidents. I always remember thinking, well, I didn't like the last president very much. So a dealer advised me, said, well, you might not have liked Millard Fillmore either. So might as well get one.
Might as well get one. That's funny.
That was a pretty good line. Have to thank Ed Bomsey for that one.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, Civil War stuff is interesting, and generals, and but common soldiers is kind of more interesting to me.
yeah, that makes good sense. Yeah, kind of real down to earth,
Yeah.
person to person,
Yeah.
personal letters. Yeah, you said.
But
You
I
can learn
found
a
that
lot.
thing about the ML really.
That's amazing.
Now
Yeah,
that my video is cleared up.
And we can
there
see
you
it.
go.
We can see it.
Yep,
There it is.
terrific.
But,
Very cool.
Yeah, his wife's nickname was Bunch for some reason.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. No.
No idea. But it was only within the King family
Hmm.
that occurred.
Wow, that's
Kinda
great.
interesting.
Good deal.
But I like how he put his initials underneath, like she wouldn't know who he was.
Yeah, I know.
Who was with us when we went to the King Library with the Manuscript Society? I don't remember what year it was, but it was a marvelous tour.
No, I
But they
don't.
had everything disorganized. We went up in the attic. Was any of you there?
I wasn't there, no.
No.
And they had just boxes and boxes of his stuff
Yeah.
that was uncatalogued and all in cardboard boxes up in the attic. The building was there, but it was just they didn't have enough money to get it organized.
Oh, wow. No
Yeah.
kidding.
Was that in
It's
1994?
better now.
Wow.
She's asking, was it 90?
1990?
Ellen is asking,
Probably,
was it
but,
1994?
Well, I was,
It was
it's
pretty cool.
there's a list of all of them in the directory in the back.
Yeah,
With,
yeah.
with the year.
It
And
was
now-
the meeting in
Atlanta was 94.
Atlanta. We
Neat.
It's
That's
a long time
wild.
ago.
yeah. Well, we
I
were
bet it's
in
been
Atlanta.
cataloged by now.
We went to this library, and I got to know the archivist or the librarian basically at that time, and yeah, and she got me some signatures too.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
I'm sure, but it was tragic because they had just all of the stuff, and yet it was disorganized.
Hey,
Fragile.
wow. That's wild. Very cool. Neat. Linda, we're going to go around again. I want to share what are you up to? What kind of projects, things or thoughts that you want to share with us that would, something you want to get off your chest that, you've been waiting to, tell us what you really think of us or any of that kind of stuff. We're going to unmute you there too. There you go. There you go. We got you.
I already told you what I thought of you. I think it's a terrific organization. I don't know. Oh, George is handing me stuff. So what is this? Oh, so we also have, we have, like everybody else, several interests. So I have a children's collection, children's toys. George has a lot of history stuff. So he just handed me a very old French game puzzle, which
Wow.
he must like, but I'm going to show you what I really thought about showing you. So there's a book called The Ship That Sailed to Mars. It's kind of dark, it's hard to see.
The ship, say that, the ship that sailed to Mars?
Yes, and it's by a gentleman named William Tinneman in the 1920s, and it was considered actually probably the most beautiful children's story in the 1920s. And it's got 45 tipped in plates. Let me see if I can get to one that's colorful. So it's about a trip to Mars by some fairies, of course. So the plates are tipped in. The paper is very heavy.
Wow, nice.
It's vellum cover. And he did all of the pages are tipped in, actually, every page. So there's an additional 45 pages of tipped in calligraphy printed material. And so
That's
there
beautiful.
were 2,000 copies made. About 200 of those came to the United States, and the rest
Wow.
in in the UK, although he's from South Africa himself.
Isn't
And
that
it's
wild?
just this stunning book that when you hold it, you know it's special. It's hard to find. I've seen some of the artwork, and actually his sketchbook was at an auction that we went to, and it was way more than we could do, but it was just a thrill to be able to see it. So we have a really nice
Wow.
collection of children's stories and Southern writers. Those are the other areas that we kind of dabble in and are trying to pull back from, but not successfully.
And you said your author was Timlin, Timlin?
Yes.
Timlin. Oh, that's great. Very cool. Thanks. That's great. All right. I'm going to keep floating around here. Allison, what do you got?
Well, I'm just going to put in some information. In the theme of Martin Luther King, but on the opposite side, in the ugliness of the world. I'm going
Yes.
to show you I have two fascinating little things. One is it's a letter from the Ku Klux Klan in Los Angeles, right? And it's naming and their original stationery with a stamp and date and sign, very fancy looking. And it's making some guy a sergeant in the Ku Klux Klan, and everything's with K's. So it's the California Cavaliers,
Oh,
and
gee.
it's KLA.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's being named a sergeant. And what's weird is I bought these in separate places, and this was in 1932. Okay, on the back of it, I have here another letter. This one, the stationery is less fancy, and it's a letter from the Klan to the Assistant Chief of Police of Los Angeles.
Oh, gee.
And he's writing on behalf of the first guy that was their sergeant, saying that this guy has a chance to become a night watchman, a security official in the police department. And he's vouching for him and giving him a big thumbs up.
Oh my gosh.
Essentially, so this demonstrates in vivid detail the collusion between the police
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
racist elements in LA.
Wow.
That
And
is
it's
fascinating.
pretty profound. But what's so weird is, like, I found the police letter first and thought that was amazing. And like years later, I come upon, it never occurs to me it could be the same guy. So clearly what happened is when he died, his papers got somehow dispersed.
Oh yeah.
And then I
Mhm.
stumbled on this thing, which is just unbelievable. Now, the other one is it has bigger national import. This is a very simple letter I found on it. It was on the wall of the Beverly Hills estate. And it's a letter that Eleanor Roosevelt wrote. That's Eleanor Roosevelt's autograph there.
Oh,
from the
okay.
White House, right? And when it comes to letters like this, it's all about content. And I don't think there'll ever be a letter that could have better content than this. And I researched a little bit, and she's writing to a man named Mr. Traver, who had sat next to her at a dinner party about 4 or 5 days before, because her diary is all online, everything she did every day. So she's writing to a guy she's just had dinner with. And she says, I am keenly in sympathy with you and your desire to obtain a beach for the colored people. And I think you are proposing a fine and generous thing. But why spoil it by hard feeling for the Jewish race, who are a fairly unhappy people now also? It is true that we cannot like them all, but they may not always like us.
Oh,
Of course, I
jeez.
would not object to
Wow.
having you use my name, but would you not rather commemorate someone who has helped to create better feeling in that vicinity? I have done nothing there, so you would just be flattering me. So clearly he wanted to name a Massachusetts beach after Eleanor Roosevelt, and this beach was going to be set aside just for Black bathers, but he Jew bashed at dinner
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
letter. She's saying, whoa, you're doing a beautiful thing, but why do you have to be so mean to Jewish people? And
Jeez.
here is 39. It's right when everything's hitting, the fan.
Yeah. Sure.
So I couldn't believe when I saw this thing. And normally I don't buy too many autographs unless they're on a piece of ephemera that I really want. But this
Mhm.
was just too good to be true.
That's incredible. That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you. That's
Sure.
excellent. Ellen, anything to share, or do we?
One of the things I might mention, for those of you who were with us and went to the Getty, you remember that Dr. Morrison brought out 3 wonderful medieval manuscripts, and one of them was from a piece of music, just to use common terms here, just a big medieval choir book, and it was
Oh,
a
yeah.
page, a leaf out of a choir book, and it was filled with imagery. It was just wonderful, and it made me kind of want to come home and look at a couple of pieces I have hanging on my wall in here that I bought over 50 years ago.
Wow.
And obviously they're not 16th century Italian, wonderful. And but I have no idea what they are. But the story's kind of fun because Bill and I were traveling through Europe. This is 1969, and we bought a Carmen Gia, you know, tooling around, and here we were down in Spain, and we were in Toledo, you know, the site of the huge cathedral, and we came out a back door on this cobblestone street, went in an antique store, and it was full of choir books, huge pages, and some of them were on waste baskets, and some of them were on lampshades, and there were even some specifically to cover telephone directories. If those of you who remember when we had telephone directories. And so they also had some stacks, and one of them was stacks of really nice pieces with lots of imagery on them, and I bought one of those. And one of them I bought was $50. You say, well,
Wow.
Big deal. But it was when you were doing, you know, Europe on $10 a day. I mean, $50 would.
Sure.
Anyway, so I got one of those. And then another group that we got, they said, I said, do you have some others? He said, well, you see that big book over there? Just open the book and pick out the pages you want, and I'll pull them out.
Whoa.
We bought half a dozen. And I wasn't smart enough to look at the first page, if it were still there, what I was getting. So I have no idea, except they're wonderful. And I've
Oh,
enjoyed
that's so great. That's a good story.
It's
That's a
1969,
that's
yeah.
a great story. Neat. So cool. Good. Scott, anything to share tonight?
Your sound's off.
Yeah, we got to unmute you, buddy.
Yep.
What you got?
Apropos to what we're talking about, Martin Luther King and Allison's Black history there. This is a quote from Frederick Douglass, written in 1886. If I can show it there, it's a little glossy.
Yeah, hold it still.
But I'll read it.
Your stream's a little slow. Your audio is getting chopped up a little bit. But yeah, just kind of hold it there for a second in one place, and we'll get a look at it. There we go. I can see his signature. All right, but you're going to have to read us the quote, I think.
Yes. So it's the standard quote that he used in the North Star, his newspaper. At the beginning, it's right is of no sex, truth is of no color. But then a little change from previous writings. Liberty is the birthright of all, and all men are brothers. And so I thought it was pretty neat quote. And he was at this time helping Elizabeth Stanton and Susan B. Anthony for their rights, as well as blacks, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So right is no sex, truth is of no color. Liberty is the birthright of all, and all men are brothers.
Very nice.
Pretty neat.
That's good. Have you had that a long time?
Yes. Actually, you mentioned I got it from Catherine Barnes years ago.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Oh, that's great. Good deal. Jim, anything to share? Or just start show us everything on your desk, and that'll work fine too.
Nothing interesting here. In
Nothing.
No, I haven't been collecting lately, but I will. So I don't have, and I didn't think to go and like fish out good
That's
stuff.
all right.
Anyway.
Not a requirement. We're just happy to see you.
But I will share just sort of a follow-up to our Manuscript Society meeting in Los Angeles, which was great. And so 4 or 5 faces on that screen were there. Alice and I stayed over in Beverly Hills till Tuesday. And on Monday, we took the Paramount Studio tour.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, and you get yet another opportunity to get your picture taken holding your Academy Award, just like we did at USC, in the USC. So that was fun. And here's a little bit of trivia for those students who are all into history, I think. So if you think about the Paramount logo that you see at the beginning of every Paramount film, it's usually a mountain, and there's sunburst, and there's stars above it.
Mm-hmm.
The stars aren't random. The stars were assigned to the Paramount stars in the early days of the studio. So when the stars, remember the old studio system, stars were in contract to a particular studio and they lived and worked there. And those stars are, there's a map that shows which star belongs to which person. So it's not random. It was very interesting. I never knew that.
No kidding. Oh, isn't that wild?
Yep.
Very interesting.
What's the other thing about the Paramount? Oh, of course, the day we were there, the place was empty. All right. So who can tell me why a studio that normally 2,000 people would work there in 31 different sound stages on any given day? Any guess as to why it was empty on a Monday morning?
Writer's strike.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
good.
go. So it was kind of like touring a ghost town. It was kind of interesting.
Wow, that's interesting.
I'm
So
out
the
there
tour guide-
picketing.
Yeah.
I'm out there picketing every other day. I'm picketing, and my son is already an animation collector. So we're out there picketing, and all the Simpsons writers come that day. So my 14-year-old son gets a sketch and an autograph from Conan O'Brien, from Matt Groening, from the voice of Homer Simpson. And then he has James L. Brooks, who produces The Simpsons, who writes him a whole note about his collecting, and he said it was the happiest day of his life. My son.
That's so great. Well,
Cool.
I hope you guys get that all resolved. That's quite a mess out there. You know,
Sure is.
can't do it without the writers.
One more bit of movie trivia, and then we'll give it up to somebody else. Just one quickie that was a surprise to me. Okay, so we all know Paramount Pictures makes movies at Paramount Studios. How many of the projects that are done at Paramount Studios are done by Paramount Pictures? Or what percentage, I guess, is the right way. It's the Paramount only does about 40% of the total production there. The rest of it is they're a studio for hire. So
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Very
It
interesting.
wasn't always that way, but yeah.
Wow.
More and more they become, sometimes these studios now, their biggest focus is TV, and then they do the huge meta event, big event movies.
Oh, I see.
And then the rest is they just become a distribution outlet, in a sense, a distribution structure. And since all the money's in distribution anywhere, because that's where you can steal the most, where you can write things off to your expenses, and you can, so it's the creators that really get hosed, especially in independent film. Like you just don't get anything back. They just take it all. It's pretty
wow.
Cool. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's great. Great. Thanks. Thank you. That's great, Jim. Thanks for the expansion on that. What, Bill?
Yep. I guess. Let me see if reverse. That's not working.
We're getting a tour of the house. Oh, we're going down a dark hallway. Hey, wait a minute.
It's kind of spooky.
This looks like a movie trailer. Something's going to happen to Bill.
I usually don't do my iPad for calls. Well, there's my cat.
Good. Do you have many? Do you collect those?
Let me give it another try, see if I can.
We got to cut off the drinking.
I didn't hear that.
Is it too many Mai Tais?
But yeah, yeah, there you go.
No, I'm not seeing how to switch camera.
Oh, to flip your camera. It might be harder to do on a Zoom meeting. I think maybe you did.
Okay.
There you go. That's good. We see your feet.
Here's also one of my favorite items.
Are you covering your lens by chance?
Let me guess,
Your
it's a
camera?
black cat in a black room.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. That's good.
Oh my God, I love it.
Hugh Hefner. It's a Hugh Hefner bunny with a cigarette or a cigar.
Yeah.
Oh, we just lost it. Oh, that's cool.
No, and that, let me switch it back. And that is something I got because I sent him a Brigitte Bardot video, VHS video.
Oh, no kidding.
No.
Hmm.
In the old days when people still use that stuff.
Still use VHS. There you go. That's great. It wasn't a pirated copy, was it?
No, it was, I don't know if you guys know Tower Records.
Oh yeah, sure. Yep.
It was a discounted video from Tower Records.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's great. That sounds like a good trade.
$6 for something maybe worth 1,500 or something.
There you go. Sounds good. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Good.
Great.
John, anything to share tonight?
Well, no, not really, not yet. Well, actually, I do have something. Hold on a second.
Okay. Is this going okay for everybody? This is just kind of informal hangout, like being in the lobby at the hotel at a conference, you know, where everybody brings stuff.
I think it's a fun way to do
Well,
this.
it's just a book that I bought. It, if you can,
Yeah, put it in front of you because your background is kind of getting
okay.
blurred. There you go. That's better. Famous actors?
yeah, and it's, let's see, it's, it was just called Stage Lovers, series. Anyway, it has beautiful photos of these actors. I guess they're from the 19th century.
Hmm.
And so,
Wow.
you know,
There you go. Yeah. You
so it was just
Neat.
it was a beautiful book. Just, you know, just the
Pretty.
the cover and the whatever you call this. I haven't learned the words yet.
the spine.
Spine,
Yeah,
spine, yeah.
There you go. Yep.
So anyway, so that's what I've been collecting, stuff like that lately.
Oh, that's great. That's very cool.
Did they have John Wilkes Booth in there?
That's a good question. Let's see.
That would make it worth some money.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
And Edwin was also his brother. Was Edwin his
Email.
brother? Was an actor, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah. I like those kind of references because you can't. They're all in one place, and if you're going on the internet, you got to kind of look every single name up. Whereas this might give you a kind of a time frame. So they're the kind of books that ended up in my library with all our research and things along those lines.
mhm.
That's great. That's very cool. Good. Did I miss anybody?
Well, Christian didn't tell us about where he was from. He just.
Oh, I'm
showed-
sorry. Yeah, he got right into the book. Okay. Yes, that's right. Yeah, please do that. Thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
Ah, good.
garden spot of America.
There you go. The three
Well, it
rivers
is
all meet there,
wonderful.
huh?
We
Do you
have
have any
lots of
family?
rain.
It's good.
Do you have any family in Chicago or Wisconsin? I know a bunch of dolls out there.
Yeah, no family here. I have a brother in Kent, Ohio. That's about it. But they're all overseas, Denmark and England.
Yeah.
Got it.
And
Oh,
you have
that's
to
great.
watch it because we have another Christian doll in the Manuscript Society.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm the real one. So
Yeah.
Be sure to take a look at your directory and you'll find that.
okay.
There you go. That's true. This is
Brian, I
true.
could share a quick Ronald
Yeah, please.
Reagan. Okay.
Absolutely. Please do that.
This is my Ronald Reagan moment. I was the lighting director for David Frost interview.
Hold it up again a little, just so we can see a little longer. Right. The lighting director for there's David Frost there and Reagan signing something.
So that's me behind.
Oh yeah, right behind him with the beard.
Reagan
That's right.
Before I turned gray.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's so
This is what
cool.
I had him sign, which is a inaugural brochure.
Yeah.
When I asked him to sign it, I had checked it with Secret Service and stuff.
Yeah.
We're in the Oval Office, and they said, "Sure, he'll sign anything." So, so I handed it to him, and he said, "What do you want me to write?" And I said, "Just your name." And he laughed, and he said, "That reminds me of a funny story." And literally, his aides were like, "Oh God, he's going to tell us," because he had somewhere else to be. So he tells this story about when he was an actor. Somebody runs up to him on the street with a pencil and a piece of paper, and he said, "I knew they were going to ask me for my autograph." So the guy gets up to me and he says, "You're Ray Milland." Everybody laughs. So I said, well, Mr. President, what did you sign? And he said, I signed Ray Milland.
Oh,
So somewhere out there is a Ray Milland autograph in Ronald Reagan's handwriting.
that is very funny. That's a good story. I like that story. Neat. So let me tell you what's coming up for between now and the end of the year. I'm going to share my screen here. It's not going to be real fancy, but you'll be able to see it.
Yep.
Did that come up?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So in August we have the John Law papers coming up. Howard Margo is going to do the presentation. Alfred Lemon suggested I reach out to him, and John Law was the man who convinced the French key to let him develop a plan to settle Louisiana territory. And he did a lot of advertising around Europe for people to come and settle in this new paradise. It's a really interesting document collection. I've talked to Howard. He's really sharp. He knows what's going on, and that should be a lot of fun. In September, Dr. Barton Smith is going to talk. He has an extensive collection of Charles Darwin stuff, and he's going to talk about Charles Darwin and some items from the collection, books and manuscripts, and a lot of history about that, which is really, really interesting. So I hope you'll join us for that. In October, my friend Susan Leahy, who is also a member of the International Society of Appraisers, is going to talk about the original Wikipedia. An 18th century Chinese emperor put together this incredible project of all the books that were ever published in China. 10 years of research, 350 scholars, hundreds of editors, 36,000 volumes, 2.3 million pages. And I think it's called the Siku Quan Shu. And I may not have gotten that right, but it's a big section. She's done a lot of research on it, and we'll share a little bit about that too. In November, we're going to get the inside scoop of book collecting. That's kind of a working title. Ken Gloss, who is a book specialist, will talk about that. And I figure in December, right after Thanksgiving, we'll do Thanksgiving leftovers, which will be just kind of wrapping up the year with what's going to happen in 2024 and where we're going to go and what some programs might be down the road. But before we wrap up, I want to know if there are things that you may want to see us do in the future. How many of these kind of just get together and shoot the breeze kind of programs do we want? Are there particular topics that might be of interest? Do any of you have an interest in presenting? We're always looking for speakers, presenters, and topics. So any ideas from anybody that I should be scribbling down here?
You set a high standard, Brian.
Oh no, it's the people that have been. We've had some really, really great speakers, and it's just been such an honor for me to work with them and hang out with them. And I've made some really good friends along the way too, for people who have been our presenters.
I certainly think the more of these things, the better. This is only my second one, but I don't remember saying no to any. So either I didn't remember or hear about them, but I think it's great to be able to just meet members. It's fun that they're in different cities around America. You get a feeling of what people are collecting. I think I think it's a fun thing. It's a good thing.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good.
Great community.
Other thoughts, ideas?
My last thought is that I wanted to share with you, since he shared Ronald Reagan, I wanted to share a photo of Nancy Reagan shaking hands with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And she autographs the photo. What I love about it is that she has no idea she's shaking the hands of the future governor of California.
That's right. Oh, that's great.
Like, how could she ever have imagined at that moment?
That's very funny. Good stuff. Good deal. Well, we've been an hour and it's gone very fast for me. I don't know how it's gone for you, but I am grateful for your attendance and participation and friendship. And I hope we can do it again in the future. Any last thoughts by anyone?
No, it's great. Really, really nice.
Good deal. Well, thank you all. We'll call it a night then. Have a very happy 4th. Allison, get out there and end that strike, huh? Get those people to fold.
I'm fighting the man.
No, well, y'all keep fighting. And we'll see you all soon next month on Manuscript Monday. Take care. Be safe, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.